What's good, y'all? Elite Live Streams. We back with another one. How you guys doing out there? Welcome to another Elite Live Streams. Hope you guys doing well. Great start to the week. Happy Monday, everybody. Salute to the chat. What up, Torian? Appreciate you, bro. Always pulling up, showing love. Appreciate it, dog. So today, man, we got a really good update. Obviously, over the weekend, Juneteenth weekend, Father's Day weekend. Salute to all the fathers out there. They released the Karmelo Anthony surveillance tapes and the body cam footage, right? And obviously there was a lot of speculation about what exactly we would see on that video, what exactly the footage would be able to show us. And obviously I think with that now coming into kind of the internet sphere, right? Yeah, man, let's see what this new team does. Exactly. That's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to do a deep dive. We're going to look into who these people are, you know what I'm saying, what they bring to the table, and what does this mean for Karmelo Anthony's new case. You know what I'm saying? Salute Unspoken. Appreciate you pulling up. But yeah, so we definitely are going to do a deep dive on that because we do have an update, right? Which is the fact that Karmelo Anthony now has a new defense team, right? He just put in a new order. Let me make sure I get the exact terminology correct because I want to make sure I say this correctly, okay? Karmelo Anthony files a substitution of counsel, all right, to pursue an appeal for his verdict, all right? And we understand that he got sentenced to 35 years. And we all saw in real time in 4K how incompetent his defense team was during this entire process. You guys were on my channel when I had, you know, a full panel with the homies up here. And we talked about, you know, just how we felt when it came to who the people were that were representing him at the time, and as well the way that they handled this case throughout the entire process, right? Even with the speed of this case, there were a lot of questions that were being raised. And so now, you know, there was obviously a huge, this is, you know, mainstream news. I told you guys that this was going to be a mainstream story. Ever since I started covering it last year, obviously there is racial undertones that cannot be ignored in this case, even in the now evidence that's coming out to show that this does go beyond just what we were thinking when it comes to a black and white issue. This was about a kid literally, okay, being surrounded and having to defend himself, and the collusion and corruption around the details of what exactly happened that day. You know what I'm saying? And obviously, you know, I'm a true crime fan, just like anybody else, you know, First 48 and CSI and all these other different shows, right? And obviously, a lot of those stories are based on real life. And I really do think that this is one of those true crime stories where a lot of people have been able to not only get the details from what we were receiving from the media and also the independent journalists, right? Salute to all the independent journalists who have been following this story and putting out the exact facts so that we can make our own assumption of what's been going on, right? Because there's been a lot of media manipulation around this case. And I really do have to salute Black media for really standing up and doing their job by making sure that we are debunking any false narratives and that we're looking just beyond what they're telling us, right? Because obviously they were already going to curtail the side of Karmelo's account to make it seem like he was the aggressor. And obviously they coached a lot of the witnesses to speak in a way that was anti-Karmelo and pro-Austin Metcalf. But in reality, we started to see that the details just weren't adding up when it came to the evidence, right? Specifically, the fact that that Para kid, who he thought was his friend, actually tried to distance himself in real time with picture, photo evidence, text message evidence. We saw this in real time. And so obviously now there was, you know, like I mentioned, a huge announcement today about who his new legal team would be. So what we're going to do is we're going to get into that, right? Because we're going to start there so that we can actually start to kind of deep dive into individually who these people are and where they're from, obviously, because we got to see, we got to do our paperwork now, because we saw what happened previously, right? We saw what happened previously, but oh, okay, there we go. But now, what? Oh, sorry guys, I'm checking some tech here. But now we're starting to actually see the details come out, and we got to stick to the details, right? Because that's what we do on Elite Media. We bring the receipts, we make sure that we're checking our sources. And over here, we're fine not being the first to release a story. I'd rather be right than be the first. You know what I'm saying? I'd rather have my account be as accurate as possible, as opposed to it just being something that, I'm just pulling out, just because I'm trying to be first. All right, salute to Tori, and he says they released those images. He lied on that stand. Last I checked, perjury is a crime. Facts. And that's why this is going to work in Karmelo's favor, is because a lot of this stuff is now being debunked. And the fact of the matter is, the proof is in the pudding. Like, you can't deny that you guys were friends when there's pictures of you guys intimately hanging out, him being around your family, him knowing your family. Obviously, Karmelo is, trusting you as one of his friends. Like, there's clearly a relationship here. And for homie to really try to distance himself really speaks to, how lame a lot of this media was surrounding this. All right, so let me bring this up for y'all so we can chop it up. All right, so here we go. This is TMZ. All right, y'all. Everybody wants to talk about who's your source, right? What's your source? All right, we're gonna take it from the 24 karat people, because that's who runs these certain media sites. All right, we're gonna take it from the 24 karat people, the people who y'all hold up for being the media conglomerate. All right, cool, got you, bet. So TMZ reports that Karmelo Anthony is bringing out the legal big guns, their words, to pursue an appeal. All right, so this was just put out today at 2:36 Pacific Standard Time. All right, just so we make sure that you guys understand that this is breaking news. Okay, this is breaking news. This just came out not too long ago. All right, you got the Elite Media exclusive right here. All right, Elite Media exclusive. Okay, salute to Karmelo, free Karmelo. All right. So the fight for Karmelo Anthony's freedom is heading into the next round, and a new group of heavyweight attorneys is now leading his effort to overturn his M1 conviction. All right. A team including Texas NAACP President Gary Bledsoe, veteran lawyer Russell Wilson II, and civil rights attorney Brooke Claus, announced Monday was taking over Anthony's case and will be conducting an independent review to trial lawyer that recorded while pursuing available avenues for the appeal. All right, guys. So obviously, right now, we are in the appeal stage because, like we mentioned, Karmelo obviously was railroaded. There was a lot of speculation going out and about what was happening behind the scenes, and then as well what happened in the courtroom, the speedy verdict, right? The jurors all being of a certain persuasion, if you know what I'm saying. All these things considered all at once, right? We're watching it in real time, like I mentioned. We're watching all this happen while it's happening in 4K, okay? So Karmelo goes in there against all odds, obviously, right? Obviously, what happens is he ends up getting what we probably suspected was going to happen, right? Which was they convicted him immediately, right? And the fact of the matter is, right, that we're starting to now see that when you're looking at, okay, bet, if we're going to say that we're Americans, right? If we're going to say that, okay, we're the ones who are going to be out here and we're going to give him a fair and speedy trial, what does that mean? Does that mean that he is not going to as well be able to get the proper representation? That's what they thought. right? Because obviously they had this defense attorney in the beginning, right, who came out and was literally a wet blanket. There was nothing to him. He was going to let whatever was going to happen to Karmelo, probably take a deal, etc. But obviously, Karmelo now, knowing what he knows that he's going to need some real people who are going to be able to really, really do the job, right? So let's start from the beginning, right? All right. So let's start with the brother Russell Wilson. Let's bring this down. Let me take that down. Boom. And then we'll bring my brother up. All right. So this is who is the lead attorney. Okay. His brother, this is a brother by the name of Russell Wilson II. Okay. He is a veteran board certified criminal defense and appellate attorney. He's based in Dallas, Texas, with over 30 years of experience. And his practice focused specifically on state felonies, federal crimes, civil litigation, and ethics defense. Okay. This is what will be, in my opinion, his main goal is the ethics part of what happened to Karmelo, right? We're going to need somebody who understands the system and as well how it's played through the litigation aspect of what happened to Karmelo. Not just about, okay, yeah, he has to have black lawyers, whatever. No, he also has to have a black lawyer who understands the ethics and the civil rights litigation that's necessary for us to point out that there were inconsistencies within his verdict and within that courtroom, okay? Because obviously they really had a stronghold on the jury selection. They had a stronghold on the judge mysteriously retiring after the verdict. Okay, the connection between the Metcalf family and as well the prosecution attorneys. All these things is going to be a part of what Russell Wilson II is going to have to focus on. All right, he's going to have to really do his hard work, and he's going to have to be a shark, man. Let's just keep it real, because Karmelo's life is on the line, and I'm going to be real with y'all as well. These type of lawyers do not come cheap. Okay. These type of lawyers, they cost a pretty penny. And I don't know who, in the background was putting the money up, right? I don't know who it was. But at the end of the day, somebody put the money up for Karmelo to be able to receive, right? To be able to receive proper representation. Okay. And so now we're looking at, okay, bet. So now we have the proper representation, right? Through brother Russell Wilson II. Okay. So now let me read the statement that the Crump law firm put out, who is representing Karmelo Anthony. All right. So leading the effort is Russell Wilson, the law offices of Russell Wilson II. Okay. This is who we're talking about. Our Appealgate team has been retained following the conviction to conduct a fresh and independent review of the trial records. We recognize the profound loss suffered by one young man's family and the uncertainty facing another. And we extend our respect to everyone whose lives have been forever changed by these events. Our responsibility is to determine whether a legal error occurred and to ensure that every issue supported by the record is fully and vigorously presented on appeals. The appealate process exists for precisely this purpose. All right. So look, man, they're coming out swinging. They're saying that, hey, man, we got to look at this case. We got to see what's going on. We have to make sure that we do a deep dive, right, on what happened, because everyone, and I mentioned this, everyone saw what happened to Karmelo. They saw it in real time. We all witnessed it. We said, nah, something ain't right about this. Something doesn't make sense. Something feels off. And so naturally, we like, all right, bet. Let's make sure that we look at this and look at it deeper. Unfortunately, this was already in progress. So Karmelo didn't really stand a chance with the defense team that he had. By the time that they realized that this guy ain't worth nothing, it was too late. Everything was already moving at a rapid pace. And that's what I think they wanted by design, obviously, right? Obviously, this is what they wanted. And so that's kind of how it went, you know? So based on the TMZ report, it says Austin was convicted. Oh, no, Anthony was convicted of M-wording Austin Metcalf and sentenced earlier this month to 35 years in prison. He had signaled he wasn't done fighting for the case almost immediately, filing a notice of appeal less than 24 hours after the conviction. The newly assembled legal team says its focuses will be determining whether any errors occurred during the proceedings and raising any issues it believes could support overturning the conviction, right? So like I mentioned, there's a very, very strong case that they're trying to bring, you know, to the forefront, because obviously this is what's been happening, man. We've been seeing it from a lot of different angles. A lot of people are doing deep dives on what happened in the exact moment from the video footage that we're looking at right now. Obviously, I don't know if this is the only video, you know, that's my thing. Like, we're seeing one video, but are there more videos, right? Do we have multiple viewpoints? Do we have different viewpoints from kids who are underneath the tent? I'm certain that they do, right? Yeah, man. Salute, Tori. He says Stevie Wonder could see they were railroading from this case. Yeah, man. It was very early on. Like I mentioned, we could see from a mile away what they were up to. And so naturally, we had that sick feeling in our stomach because, like I mentioned, the rapid pace, how quickly everything was happening, it really didn't make sense, right? So we'll continue. TMZ says the lawyers say they are taking a fresh look at the case, and they are acknowledging that the toll of the case has taken on both families, right? Obviously, they should. Anthony's conviction stems from a unaliving of Austin Metcalf during a confrontation at a Frisco, Texas high school track meet. Austin claimed he acted in defense, but the jurors rejected that argument and found him guilty, all right? As previously reported, a Texas court recently unsealed a mountain of evidence from the case, including body cam footage. Now, listen to this, guys. A year later, that's what I don't like that they leave out, is the fact that they released this a year later, right? Most times in these cases, they'll release this type of stuff immediately, right? All of the information, the body cam footage, whatever. But the fact that it took them over a year to release this after the conviction as well makes me, you know, my antennas go up, because it's like, obviously this is doctored. Obviously we're not getting the full raw uncut, because like I mentioned, a lot of this stuff is in 4K. These cameras, you can see on a Ring camera full 1080p. All right, so you telling me they don't got that at a new stadium like that in Frisco, Texas? Get out of here, man. All right, so look, we talked about, let me bring them up again just so we can make sure we on code here. Russell Wilson II, right? All right, Russell Wilson. Let's make sure that we let's look at a little bit of his history. Let's look at his let's see if there's a wiki on him. There's no Wikipedia on him, but let's look at his LinkedIn. All right, let's look at his LinkedIn. Let's look into these people, because this is what we got to do. You know what I'm saying? We got to make sure that we're making a count and we are paying attention to who these people are. We're not just saying, oh, great, you know, we just got a black lawyer. Like, no, man, we got to know who these people are, man. We got to know where they come from, okay? We got to know who they represent, all right? He went to the University of Oklahoma, all right? So, obviously, he is a Texas guy. University of Oklahoma is obviously a huge school for, you know, Texans. We'll say that, okay? So, let's see. Let's go up here. All right. So, it says he is board certified by the Texas Board of Legal Specialization. He got his degree from the College of Law at Oklahoma. He is the adjunct professor at SMU Law School and regularly serves as co-counsel in high-profile appellate cases, such as leading the legal teams for Carmelo Anthony. Okay, so guys, obviously this is his lane. This is what he does. Okay, he looks obviously FBA to me. You know what I'm saying? There isn't much of a Wikipedia on him, so I wouldn't know what his lineage would be for his parents. But just off the strength, off the muscle, he definitely looks FBA. And I definitely think that this is a guy who, like I mentioned, he has a wealth of experience. This is what he does for that appeal late section of things. All right. So next, who we got up next? All right. So we got let me make sure I get everybody's name correctly here because I have it all queued up. All right. Because we're not going to let nobody get out of their credit. You know what I'm saying? Because that's what we do over here. Like I said, everything has to be credited. Everything has to be from real sources. Okay. We're not just saying stuff to say it. All right. So next, we have co-counsel Miss Brooke Cluse. All right. This is Miss Brooke Cluse. She is a lawyer from, let's see. Let me make sure I pull this up. All right. Brooke is a civil rights attorney and chief staff at Ben Crump Law Offices. All right. So she is part of the Ben Crump tree over there with his law offices in Houston. All right. She is a Grambling State University alumni, and she specializes in complex civil rights litigation and serves on high-profile pro bono appeal gate. All right. So that's very interesting. She might be retained for free, y'all. Okay. You know what I'm saying? She might be working pro bono. What do y'all think of that? Do you think does that hold any weight? I think that's pretty good. I think that's a great sign, right? That's a great sign that shows me, at least she's not here just for the bread. She's here to help young Karmelo, and she sees that there has been an injustice done to him, and she feels brave enough, right? Because this is as well something that we have to keep into consider as well, guys. These people are going to be hounded, all right? They're going to be harassed by the you-know-what peoples, okay? They're going to be getting harassed. They're going to be obviously trying their best to distract them. They're playing my stream. They're going to try their best to make sure that these people are going to be stressed out, okay? Now that their identities have been released, we got to make sure that these people are protected, because they're going to be getting hell, all right? Just let's keep it real. They're going to be getting hell for this, all right? So salute to Miss Brooke Cluse, all right? All's well. We talked about her at Ben Crump. All right, so she's a pro bono lawyer, right? And she acts as a strong public advocate for civil rights and racial injustices, frequently speaking out on workplace inequalities and how communities of color can protect their careers and legal rights. Okay, yeah, we love that, right? Obviously, she plays a very big role in this assistant chair, and we'll see, you know what I'm saying, what she brings to the table. Salute to Unspoken. She says they know that they will be catching hell. They should be prepared for it. Yes, indeed, 100%, because this is what comes with the territory, all right? You putting yourself out there, you're going to have to make sure that you're ready to stand up, all right? So now we're going to go to the next person, okay? So let's bring up brother Gary Bledsoe, all right? Gary Bledsoe, okay? This is the OG of the team, all right? This is, in my opinion, one of the most accomplished of all of these lawyers who are on the team. And I hope, all we can do is hope, with all of that experience, brother Gary will bring a certain level. Let me wait for this. Okay. He will bring a certain level of expertise that is necessary for them to be able to do what they got to do. All right. So Gary Bledsoe has served as a president of the Texas chapter of the NAACP since 1991. An Austin-based civil rights attorney, he is also a prominent member of the NAACP's directors and serves as a chair of the organization's National Criminal Justice Committee. All right. So now we got to make sure that we mention, okay, a lot of people have been feeling some type of way lately about the NAACP, right? A lot of people have definitely not been feeling their most confident with the NAACP lately, and justifiably so. So that's a part of this that we have to consider as Black folks. And when we're thinking about this, hey, we definitely, we're always going to have respect for the NAACP, what they've done for the community, but we also have to make sure that we're holding them accountable to doing what they're supposed to do for Black Americans, okay? That's just the fact of the matter. And if we aren't doing that, y'all got to make sure we looking at them a certain way. Salute to Tori. He says, if they can pick this thing apart with a fine-tuned comb, they're going to put them in the history books 100%. This is their opportunity, right? This is their opportunity to do something major, right? To do something that will literally make the shift in the entire algorithm. This will be something that will shift the internet on its head. I can guarantee you guys, it would be endless, all right? It would be endless on these YouTube streets if the brother Karmelo walks free, all right? So let's talk about brother Gary Bledsoe's history, all right? He has played a central role in numerous historic civil rights initiatives in Texas specifically, including dismantling racial barriers to allow minorities and women to become Texas Rangers, all right? He also frequently testifies before the Texas legislature and U.S. Congress on issues involving voting rights, redistricting, and the opposition to legislation that rolls back diversity and civil rights programs, okay? So like I mentioned, he is the quintessential NAACP representative. He's out there doing the work. He's trying to, get as many people to, be on code in Texas, right? That's where he's at, and that's why I like as well. We got people who are actually in Texas, who know Texas, and who are not afraid to be Black in Texas, all right? Because they're going to need people who are going to be, like I mentioned, sharks. They got to be attack dogs, man, because these, who going to be coming for them, and they better be ready for it, all right? Having been a member of the NAACP's National Board since 2003, his oversight includes national directives and criminal justice reform, all right? So he has a private practice, the Bledsoe Law Firm, PP or PLLC, all right? And he's also won a lot of different NAACP awards, all that good stuff, all right? So like I mentioned, this is going to be the veteran of the team. He's going to be, in my opinion, the one who they would have to definitely make sure that they refer to when it comes to the systemic aspect of Texas law and how it's been going on for generations, probably since he's, been younger. You know what I'm saying? It's a pretty old guy, right? So let's continue down the team, all right? So now we're going to go more so to the co-chairs. So next, we have, let me pull this guy down. We have the second chair. This is Michael L. Ware. All right, Michael L. Ware from the law offices of Michael Ware. All right, so he is a YT man. All right, he is a YT man. So y'all, y'all let me know in the chat. You feel me? How y'all feel about another YT man being back on the jury, back on his legal team? You know what I'm saying? Because obviously, we now obviously are going to have our antennas up because, what happened previously, something to make sure that we pay attention to because, it's another one. All right. He's on the team, Michael L. Ware. All right. So he is based in Fort Worth, Texas. Mike Ware is highly prominent criminal defense and appellate attorney. He is the co-founder and the executive director of the Innocence Project of Texas. All right. So the Innocence Project obviously is very well known for what they do for appeals. And as well, I think there is a national chapters across the country. So the Innocence Project is a very, very prominent appeal law firm. All right. So I definitely do like that aspect of his history. That definitely checks out as something to say, at least we can look at that as something to give us a little bit of positivity about this man. All right. He is a board certified in criminal law and criminal appellate law and is known for taking on high profile wrongful conviction cases. All right. This is his expertise. All right. This is his expertise. All right. So he does this for sure. This is why they have him on their Innocence Project. Yes, indeed. Exactly. So he's definitely attached to the Innocence Project, which is great. Obviously, he has his own law firm. And like I mentioned, he is known for taking on high profile wrongful convictions. All right. Wrongful convictions. That is very important because that's exactly what happened to Karmelo. He was wrongfully convicted. And so what I think, this is just my, this would be my prediction. My prediction would say that Karmelo gets his sentence lowered and it goes from the M1 to a manslaughter charge. They give him somewhere around 5 to 6 years, and then he's able to walk. That's my guesstimation. That's what I hope. Best case scenario would be is Karmelo immediately be, taken from M1 down to a simple manslaughter charge. They give him 5 to 6 years on that, and he's able to go home to his family. You know what I'm saying? But Michael is well known for the wrongful conviction cases. All right. He is from Yorktown and Newport News, Virginia, and he specializes in commercial litigation, automotive industry disputes, and criminal defense. All right. He is a partner at Schimpf and Ware PLLC. Okay. Like I said, he has his own firm. All right. So he's got his own thing going on over there. All right. So he has a global law firm as well. And he is a practicing as well real estate attorney where he has a law firm here in California as well. All right, cool. If you are looking for a specific type of case, blah, 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 blah. All right. So that's who we got. Michael L. Ware as our second chair. Okay. Like we mentioned, we just went over the first few. Now let's continue. All right. So next, we got us a Asian, I would say, or of Indian descent. All right. His name is Sean Daradia. Okay. So Sean Daradia. Okay. He is going to be our co-counsel. All right. So now, like I mentioned, right, we got, there's going to be some colorful, team. This is what we're going to have. You know what I'm saying? This is what it's going to be. Okay. And we got to look at it. You know what I'm saying? We have to, because this is very important, right? It's important to look at the exact facts for what they are and who they are. We're going to look at exactly who these people are. And we're going to make our assessment, man, because it's very important for us to look at these people and make sure we know who they are. You know what I'm saying? Straight up, man. Salute to Unspoken. She says, given all the new evidence, I think Melo should walk now. Like, honestly, before all this, I was like 5 years is doable, but now no years. Melo was set up. Yes, I can definitely understand your sentiment 100%. YTs have completely walked for unaliving us in self-defense. Yes, indeed, 100%. And I think it's very important, from a certain capacity, right? Let's talk about it, is the fact that as Karmelo, all this information has now been gifted to us, right? We know what's going on now. Now, like you mentioned, shoot, that ain't out the equation, Unspoken. Okay? That's not out the equation. It's not out the equation that he would be completely exonerated. Okay? Because like I've already talked about on my channel, Black American men are the highest rate for exonerations. Okay? the exoneration rate for Black American men is outstanding. All right. I want to make sure I look at this correctly. Exoneration rate for Black Americans. All right. Let's look it up because we got to make sure we're keeping it extra funky. All right. We got to make sure. All right. So it says that there is literally misconduct in Black American cases at over a 70.6% clip. Okay? Over 70%. All right? What are we talking about? What are we talking about, man? Black Americans account for roughly 13% of the U.S. population, but overly, man, see, stuff like this be pissing me off because I bring it up all the time on my channel, but every time I see it, it's really pissing me off. Okay? But we account for over 60% of the exonerations, y'all. Yeah. So when I talk about this is big business, this is what we talking about. Sean Dardia, he's in there. All right. He's a part of this. Okay. He's an experienced trial lawyer and a civil rights attorney. Okay. He is based out here apparently in California, which is okay. That's interesting. But apparently he is working with the legal team for Karmelo Anthony. So salute to Brother Sean. We're going to see what he has to bring to the table. All right. Because like I mentioned, right now we're looking into all these people. Like I mentioned, obviously the last two were people of different persuasions, but they are a part of Karmelo's team. And we got to make sure that we give them their credit. So now the next one. All right. This is the last person who's on the co-counsel, Brother Justin A. Moore. All right. Justin A. Moore. Okay. Now, got another brother, right? We feeling good. How we feeling? All right. That's about 4 Black lawyers and 2 lawyers from a different persuasion. How y'all feel about that? All right. So let's keep it a brunt. You know what I'm saying? Let's talk about Justin, right? Justin is a national civil rights attorney and criminal defense attorney. He is from Dallas, Texas. All right. He is a co-founder of the law firm Stafford Moore, PLLC, and has gained prominence for his high-profile advocacy work, police brutality cases, and historical justice initiatives. All right. So salute to Brother Justin Moore. He definitely looks like an FBA brother. You know what I'm saying? Looks like somebody who could be in my family. All right. So a lot of my uncles and cousins look. Okay. So, you know, he's got the look, right? And obviously he's definitely got the experience, right? He's a graduate from Morehouse College, and he was also the SMU Dedman School of Law. Okay. So he's gone to Morehouse and then he went to SMU for law school. All right. He also studied human rights laws at the University of Oxford. All right. So this is a very well-educated brother. All right. He's studied at Oxford, studied at Morehouse, and he studied at SMU. All right. So the credentials are there. I love the credentials, love the background. All right. He previously served as a prosecutor in the Dallas County District Attorney's Office. Now, this is very interesting. Okay. So you got somebody from the inside. How you guys feel about that? All right. Somebody who knows a lot of these people in the Dallas County District Attorney's Office. So he would be definitely privy to a lot of the tactics that they would use collectively as the county. What you guys think about that? I think that's very interesting. I think that adds an extra layer to this where you have Justin, who has an experience as well from a civil rights aspect, but he actually worked for the Dallas County District Attorney's Office. Now, that's very interesting because that definitely has a certain level of connection there that maybe they could use for some insider information about how a lot of these people railroaded Karmelo. You know what I'm saying? Because that's what happened. You know what I'm saying? They was leading the witnesses. They were coaching the witnesses, right? They had the family up in there getting cozy with the prosecution team. you know? So there's a lot of stuff that can be brought up when you got somebody like Justin Moore, who's had experience working for the Dallas County District's Attorney's Office. All right. That's very noteworthy. And I think that's a very interesting layer to his experience. All right. Very, very interesting layer to his experience. Let's keep that. Let's keep that bunny eared. Let's keep that bunny eared that he has a certain connection to the Dallas County District Attorney's Office. Okay. So Moore is highly regarded in his community, civil rights litigation, his prisoner clemency work, and handling police brutality cases. He notably played a pivotal role in securing a post-humanist presidential pardon for civil rights leader Marcus Garvey. That's interesting as well. Okay. He may be a Pan-Africanist. That's interesting. Okay. Connection to Dallas County District Attorney's Office. Connection to Marcus Garvey. Connection to Morehouse College. Okay. So he's got some very interesting, interesting backgrounds. Obviously, everything is still left to be determined, right? We're still trying to figure out exactly what's going to happen next. Obviously, they just put out the body cam footage. They just put out the track meet footage. Obviously, one day maybe we'll do like a reaction to that. But I've been seeing a lot of people doing different reactions to it. And at least from what I can gather, I don't want to get too speculative on what I can't see clearly. Does that make sense? And it's hard to really see clearly other than the fact that we know for sure that Karmelo was definitely ganged up on. We know that for sure. You can see the direction of where the kids were, the animosity and the commotion that happens underneath the tent, the way that Karmelo comes out and runs off. Then there's other kids who are doing very questionable things by a trash can. There's a lot of stuff that's going on at once on that video, and people have done immaculate breakdowns of it. And I think that they should keep doing that until we get more footage. If there's another video, which I think that there's way more than one video, right? But the ones that they're showing us, in my opinion, are the ones with the worst quality, not the best, a lot of speculation. And I really do think that that is a part of, the plan. I'm not sure exactly what the plan would be as far as and this is just, me being my own conspiracy theorist mindset, but I definitely do think that the fact that a lot of the media coverage and the way that a lot of Black content creators have been covering this story, there is definitely going to be a level of, let's not say suppression, right? But there will be a lot of people who are going to get a lot of copyright strikes and a lot of defamation type. I think that's going to be coming, y'all. I think that there's going to be a lot of people who they don't want to get the truth out there, and they're going to definitely start scaring content creators behind the scenes. So don't be surprised if your favorite content creators start changing up. Yes, shadow banning, facts. We're going to see a lot of that. We're going to start seeing a lot of channels that are going to get the cease and desist orders. Yeah, man, exactly. The Black media is here to stay. And this is what I think this case is really proving. Not just this case, but a lot of the stuff that's been happening recently, right? That we've been talking about over here. Rick Chow, right? We talked about Rick Chow. We talked about Karmelo, right? We talked about endless different cases, right? That have been happening in the Black American community, and the fact that Black media has been at the forefront of this. We've been the ones pressing the story. We've been the ones raising awareness to these stories. We've been the ones who getting people like Ashley Gonzalez fired from her job and completely ostracized. Okay. We were the ones in the grassroots media who are going out here exposing what's happening to Karmelo, exposing what Rick Chow did, and starting movements behind that, saying, you know what? We had enough, y'all. It's time for us to make sure we start retrieving our dollars out of these communities. We actually start to raise awareness for the corruption of this system and media that is manipulating us. And literally, as you guys can see now, the media has been exploding. There's so many channels who are growing from these type of stories, who are growing from this type of content. And in my opinion, this is more of the content that needs to be made, right? We're actually focusing on real, actual, factual things that are happening in our community that need to change. Not just distracting ourselves with celebrity culture and all this other crap that doesn't have anything to do with our everyday lives. What happened to Karmelo could happen to any one of your Black children, any one of your Black friends, any one of your colleagues, great-grandchildren, godchildren. It can happen to them if this precedent is set. And we ain't going to allow this. No way. Hell nah. We got to stand on business. We got to make sure that we going out here and we spreading awareness that we stand with Karmelo. All right? That we stand with Karmelo. Okay? That we are supporting Karmelo and that we need to free Karmelo. All right? A kid, man, who didn't deserve this. Okay? Yes, it was an unfortunate situation. No doubt about it. But at the end of the day, for him defending himself, he does not deserve to be in prison for 35 years. That is an atrocity to the justice system. That is a slap in the face to all Black Americans who deserve justice, who deserve to protect themselves if necessary against any threat, foreign or domestic. That's what y'all say. That's what y'all say as Americans, that we should be able to defend ourselves, right? We should have the right to bear arms. We should have the right to protect ourselves as Americans. Okay. So then what? What are you telling us as Black Americans if you got a kid right here who is protecting himself and you guys now want to make him out to be the villain? Nah, man. Salute to Karmelo. Free Karmelo. All right? We're going to be screaming that until it's backwards, straight up, man, because ain't no way that this kid deserves to be in prison for 35 years, man. A kid, man. All right? Sure, yes, it's unfortunate what happened to Austin. No doubt about it. But guess what? All of this could have been prevented if Austin would have did the right thing and called an adult. All right? Y'all talking about all this other moral compass stuff. Karmelo was chilling with his friend. He didn't have any beef with anybody. They brought that to him. And just for that friend that invited him into the tent to turn his back on him. Yeah, man, straight up. We couldn't save Cyrus, but we can save Karmelo 100%. Okay? 100%. What happened to Cyrus, Carmack, Belton was unfortunate and it was terrible. But we could do something for Karmelo, y'all. We can really help Karmelo, man. He deserves to be free. All right? He was a kid in a terrible situation. And kids make mistakes, man. We all make mistakes. We all made mistakes in our life. None of us are perfect. None of us are above reproach to what happens in life. No. But at the end of the day, what happened to Karmelo? What they did to Karmelo, man, we can never forget that. And we never will forget that. And that's why right now, you know what I'm saying, we're very excited for him to have a new legal team. And I hope they do the right thing. You know what I'm saying? I hope they do the right thing. I hope that they make the right decision to get Karmelo the right representation that was necessary, being able to make sure that they stand on business for him and not allow any type of F business to go on, man. Because it's very clear that what happened to Karmelo, what they did to Karmelo was an absolute atrocity to humanity. All right, this kid did not deserve this. And so now, you know what I'm saying? As I get ready to close it out, we're going to say it again, man. Free Karmelo. Free Karmelo. Free Karmelo. I stand with Karmelo and I hope the best for Karmelo. I truly do, man. Salute to Unspoke. She says a new Black media will stay on this case people like Nick at Night and so many others. Yes, 100%, man. We are doing what we need to do. We're making sure that we standing on business and represent for the brother Karmelo. Salute to Nick at Night. Salute to all these women who have been doing great work, who are out there, boots on the ground, man. Salute to them. They did an amazing job, and they're still doing an amazing job. And a lot of them are really, growing from this, and as they should, because they've been doing great work, So I want to make sure that I say my mad, my exes and all that, but make sure you guys like the video, make sure you subscribe to the channel, make sure you hype the video, okay? Because we need to make sure that we stay in the algorithm. All right, free Karmelo, you know what I'm saying, until it's backwards, you know what I mean? And if you got something to say, let me know in the comments. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you think about his new legal team. Let me know what you guys think about what I just, everything I brought to you right now. You know what I'm saying? All the backstories of these people, who they are, what they have to do, and who they're attached to. What do you guys think, man? Let me know in the comments. Please make sure you guys hype the video, because it helps me stay in the algorithm and get them, the reach that is necessary for us to continue to grow. All right. So y'all make sure you guys have a great